When Clara moved into apartment 6B, she expected quiet. The building was old, built in the 1950s, with peeling wallpaper, wooden floors that sighed under every step, and hallways that smelled faintly of old books and rain. But the rent was cheap, and Clara needed solitude. She got something else entirely. 1. The first night. It was just after midnight when she heard a knock. 6 knocks. Always 6. Paired in a strange rhythm. 3, 2, 1. She froze. She hadn't met her neighbors yet. She knew almost no one in the building. The knocking repeated. Same pattern. Same cadence. She walked to the door and looked through the peephole. No one was there. The hallway was empty and dim, lit only by the flickering yellow light above the stairs. Clara waited. Listened. Silence. She backed away. For the rest of the night, she didn't sleep. The next morning, Clara went downstairs. At the entrance, an elderly woman smoked on the steps. Her face was pale and her eyes sunken, as if sleep avoided her. Morning, Clara said. The woman exhaled a shaky breath. You must be the new one in 6B. Yes. I'm Clara. The woman nodded. I'm Mrs. Dwyer. If you hear knocking at night, don't answer. He copies the living. Clara blinked. Who? Before she could ask, Mrs. Dwyer stood up, crushed the cigarette with her shoe, and muttered. You don't want to know. 3. The second night. Clara stayed up deliberately. At 12:14 a.m., it began again. The knocking. She approached again and looked through the peephole. This time, there was someone. A man, standing unnaturally straight. Hands pressed flat against his thighs. Head tilted slightly too far down, as if staring at something on the floor. He didn't move. Not even to breathe. Clara stepped back, heart pounding. Then, without raising his head, he whispered. Clara. I know you're there. Her blood ran cold. She hadn't told anyone her name. She backed away from the door. The knocks came again, 6 of them, then the sound of footsteps fading down the hall. She didn't sleep that night either. The next day she asked the landlord, Mr. Harold, about the man she saw. No men matching that description live on your floor, he said flatly. And if someone is knocking like that, call me immediately. Later that afternoon, Clara ran into Mrs. Dwyer again. That man you saw, Mrs. Dwyer whispered, voice trembling. He's not a resident. What does he want? To be invited in. Clara frowned. Like a... Mrs. Dwyer cut her off sharply. No. Worse. The third night, he knocks wrong. This time it happened earlier. 11:47 p.m. knocks on the door again. The rhythm was too perfect. Too mechanical. Clara sat on her couch, covering her ears. But the knocks grew louder, vibrating through the floorboards. Suddenly, the doorknob moved. He was trying to open it. Clara grabbed her phone and dialed Mr. Harold. No answer. The knocking stopped. Footsteps shifted outside her door, slow and dragging. Then, he reversed the pattern of the knocking. Clara's breath caught. This wasn't random. He was testing her. And worse, he was learning. She forced herself to look through the peephole. He was standing closer now, so close his forehead almost touched the door. His head lifted in one slow, unnatural motion until his eyes aligned with the peephole. His pupils were enormous, pure black. He smiled. And then, he called her name again. Only this time it wasn't a whisper. Clara. Something was wrong with the voice. Like he was stretching her name with 2 mouths. Clara stumbled back, terrified. But the moment her foot hit the floorboard, he raised his hand. And knocked the exact sound of her footstep. Thunk. He was mimicking her. Perfectly. The next morning, Clara stormed into the lobby. "Some man keeps knocking on my door. He knows my name." "He?" Mr. Harold raised a hand. "Clara. Stop." His expression was grim. "Older. Tired. You need to understand something." He pointed toward a faded photo on the wall of the building back in 1958. "That man used to live here. Apartment 6B. He died in that unit. Now he tries to come back." He swallowed. "But he needs permission. He needs someone to answer." Clara's voice shook. "Why does he knock like that?" "He can only imitate. He can't create patterns." He stepped closer. "If he knocks wrong, do not correct him. He learns anything you respond to." Clara listened, horrified. "He mimics the living," Mr. Harold whispered. "But he is not one of us." 7. The fourth night. This time, see. She barricaded her door with a chair, 2 boxes, and her kitchen table pressed against it. At exactly 12 a.m., the knocks began. But not 6 this time. Endless. Rapid. Precise. Clara covered her ears, trembling. Then silence. A single finger tapped the door. Tap. Then again. Tap. Slow. Patient. Almost playful. Clara felt her sanity slipping. She approached the door despite every instinct screaming at her. She peered through the peephole. He wasn't alone anymore. Behind the man stood 3 more figures, standing at perfect angles, heads tilted in synchronized motion. The man leaned close, lips barely moving. "Let us in." Clara backed away, shaking uncontrollably. He repeated it. "Let us in." Then again. And again. Each time, a new voice joined him. Until the hallway sounded full of whispering mouths repeating the phrase like a chant. "Let us in. Let us in." Clara screamed. At 2:03 a.m., the chanting stopped. For a moment, quiet. Then he knocks again, this time around with the correct rhythm. Correct pattern. Perfect. He had learned. Clara didn't move. Her breath hitched. Tears streamed down her face. He knocked again, harder, exact, flawless. He spoke. "Clara. You dropped this." Something slid under the door. She looked. It was her apartment key. The one she lost on her first day. Her heart stopped. Slowly, she backed away. But the key turned in the lock. Click. The door handle twisted. The lights flickered violently, plunging the apartment into darkness. As the hinges began to creak open, Clara whispered, "No, no, no, please." A voice answered from the doorway. "You corrected me." In the morning, Mrs. Dwyer listened from her doorway as the building remained unusually silent. Apartment 6B was open. The furniture was overturned. The bed unmade. Clara's phone lay shattered on the floor. But the room itself was empty. The only sound was a slow, steady knocking coming from the closet. Mrs. Dwyer closed the door quietly and whispered, "Another one learned." She returned to her own apartment and locked the door.
If you find this story interesting, like and subscribe to my channel for more interesting stories.